Hi everyone, welcome back. Hi Tommy.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's all right.
You chilling?
Yeah.
All right, so we have an interesting few newsy topics to talk about today. Um, you, when I asked you to do this, I was like, "So did you watch a lot of sports this week?" And you were like, "Oh, all the Sunday games," and I'm like, "Perfect." Um, that's what matters. But on top of the Sunday games, we also had a few really weird other newsy things like the Astros.
Yeah, this is my least favorite topic.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
like a very salty Yankee fan.
well, yeah, oh, me too. Me too. It doesn't. It's very upsetting.
Yeah, I knew something was up.
What
I
like?
know it.
Well, obviously, I mean, like every time a New York team loses, it's probably because someone's cheating.
Yeah, obviously.
But I'm thinking about this in a vein of like you know what? I'm thinking about this. We're talking like scandal here and Deflategate, for instance.
Yeah.
Like basically what we have here when we compare those two teams, the Astros and the Patriots, is two scandals that really hurt storied franchises.
Yeah.
Like that didn't do a whole lot for the Patriots' reputation.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the worst effect it had on the Patriots' reputation?
Well, it's not like they took the championship away, and that's, I mean, it's not going to take the Astros championship
Yeah.
away. But what can you do about it? Nothing.
No.
Because,
There's no countermeasures for this.
I mean, there's
Like
no.
you get away with it, you get away with it, and that's it.
Well, and baseball is America's pastime,
Yeah.
but like, it was created in a time long before this technology that we
I
have.
know.
What do you think the rules are going to change? Like, I don't know what to do with
Well,
this
there were
information.
rules already in place for this, no?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Like you weren't allowed to do this, and they did it anyway.
Right. Like I'm pretty sure actually I'm pretty sure that phones and like screens and like or at least no, it was the game playing on television was not allowed to be playing in the dugout.
Yeah, which makes complete sense.
Absolutely. But like I don't know if phones are still allowed. I don't really know if there's like rules on that. But it's a really it's an interesting conversation because you know, it first off it's a PR issue and the Astros have already had a PR issue a couple of weeks ago with Brandon Taubman. And the Stephanie Epstein Sports Illustrated story. But like there's also different like the circumstances are different. Like when Tom Brady was asked for his cell phone, he wouldn't give it to them, and so they like changed the rules for him essentially. But in baseball, which is an older sport or more respected sport, respected sport. I don't think you can argue that.
Yeah.
You can't really. You can make new rules with technology, but you're not going to change the rules.
No, and then it'd be a matter of enforcement too. Like, if there's going to be an angle that they could cheat on, and apparently they would, you'd have to have some type of better enforcement, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because this was in the books already. You weren't allowed to do the shit they did, and they did it anyway. They just
Right.
found a slick way around the rules.
Right. I don't know. It's when you hear about this, like the word scandal comes to mind, and then you think scandals in sports, and automatically my brain goes to Deflategate.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like even Deflategate was probably less of a scandal than this. It was a massive scandal, but this is, I don't know.
This is something that
There
we
was
haven't
more
seen before.
coordinated and strategized. It took like multiple levels of people all agreeing with each other and all working in unison to make this happen.
I also think the timing of it is really interesting. Like this is being discovered now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the Brandon Taubman thing.
Well, who complained in one of the Yankees playoff games? They swore they know what pitchers were throwing. I forget what pitcher it was. He swore, and the next game he came in and he changed his glove so that he thought people were seeing it from the first baseline,
Right.
or something, and he switched his glove or whatever, turned it in so they wouldn't be able to see it. Meanwhile, the whole time they were just, you know what I mean, cheating on a whole different level than they thought they were cheating on.
Right. No, it's just it's very strange timing. It's unfortunate obviously too, but already, like, it's amazing because I think a lot about how the NFL is kind of in a crisis, what with officiating and players hurting each other, which we're going to get into in a minute. But I think at the same time, baseball has also kind of been in a crisis in the last few years with how long the games have been.
Yeah.
People don't sit at home and watch full games anymore
Yeah.
unless it's a playoff game. And I think it's amazing that the commissioner of baseball is like, we have no reason to believe that any other team is doing this. We're going to keep this with just the. I mean,
It's dog shit.
do you think other teams are doing it?
100%. They just didn't get caught on a big stage, so.
Well, they're not banging trash cans, I guess.
Yeah.
Banging trash cans.
Yeah.
How fucking weird is that?
Yeah, that is pretty weird. We're smart. I don't know. Depends.
I mean, look, to keep the technology out of it as much as you can, I guess, but I don't know. I just, the whole thing was very, very strange to me. But speaking of sports that are kind of suffering for different reasons, obviously this week, or last week, it's been almost a week now, Thursday Night Football. Myles Garrett.
Yes.
Myles Garrett and Mr. Mason Rudolph.
It was intense.
So, I didn't want to talk about this today because it's kind of old news. Now it's been almost a week, but Myles Garrett had his hearing in New York. Don't know how that went yet as of recording this podcast. It was an appeal to a suspension that is at least the rest of the season, if not longer.
Yeah. Without pay.
Without pay, exactly. It's so. In addition to this, Mason Rudolph had he spoke with the press today for the first time.
Yeah.
Again, now we're recording this on Wednesday night. It has been 6 days since all of this happened. So, first of all, I just want to say Myles Garrett has no track record with this kind of an issue.
Yeah.
He's the best defensive player that the Browns have. He's got no track record, and like I said before, like I feel like almost obviously everyone's concerned about player injuries, head injuries specifically in the NFL, but very much like Kaepernick, I feel like the NFL is using the wrong people to prove a point.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that what Myles Garrett did is in any way defensible, but we also know that Mason Rudolph will probably be fined. We don't know how much yet, but regardless of that, it seems he's going to get off pretty easy. He had a press conference earlier today, or he spoke with the press today, and he said in a prepared statement that he read, quote, "I consider it a privilege, not a right to be part of the NFL, to be a part of a first-class organization, and I fell short of that expectation last Thursday night." And then went on to say, like, he didn't like the way that he was tackled. Of course, we also saw that Mason Rudolph tried to pull Garrett's helmet off first. It seemed kind of ingenuine.
It was an escalation of events.
Like, give me a fucking break. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, was he facing any type of penalties? No, right?
Mason Rudolph?
Yeah.
No, I mean, right now he's not going to. I mean, you would think that based on the severity of what happened and the fact that he did start, and I quote unquote, start the altercation, you would think they would consider giving him a game or two, at least in addition to a fine. But it seems like he's going to get off on this by paying money. It's very white boy of him, but
yes. I don't know. So the entire Browns franchise came out directly after the game, and everybody condemned whatever Garrett's behavior.
Right.
Get slapped with an indefinite suspension, so you don't know where it's going to go, so you really can't tell. Like, I mean, it was pretty violent. It was definitely something that had to be penalized in some way. I mean, I had a friend who said this, and he was like, if it was a bigger named quarterback, if it was Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, he would have been like kicked out of the league then and there immediately. So maybe it's not the worst thing for him. Maybe he's not getting the harshest penalty he could get. I don't know. I don't think there's a precedent. Is there a precedent for this recently? Something like this in the NFL?
I mean, like I said, like in a league that's really just trying to keep safety as like its utmost priority, because because of the crisis that the NFL is going through with, I mean, quarterbacks are going down like flies.
Yeah, but
I've never seen something like this before. But he didn't get hurt either.
No.
He's not pressing charges.
And it's a completely different, like, it's on a completely different spectrum of physical possible injury. You know what I mean? Like, when you're worried about quarterbacks going down, that's just a problem with the game in general. It's not a problem with somebody acting more aggressive than they have to be or starting a fight over something. So I feel like you can't compare the two. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter when it's something like that. It was televised. Millions of people saw it.
Right. And Thursday night, obviously, there's nothing else they're watching.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's also the storyline of the game. I mean, the game was fucking terrible. Like,
yeah,
painful to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. The league could go either way on whether or not they uphold this indefinite suspension or how long it's going to be.
I think they're going to let it cool down and then just he'll be back next year.
Yeah, but you think it will be the rest of the year, including playoffs?
Probably.
Not that the Browns are making the playoffs at this point, but
well, probably the rest of the year.
Yeah,
they're not. What are they going to give them a couple games and let them come back? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was a serious thing. I do think it's amazing that Rudolph got off so easy, and on top of it, like when I was watching his address to the media, I felt like I was reading Brandon Taubman's, like relating it back to the Astros, reading Brandon Taubman's initial apology or whatever the hell that was, where he was like, I'm sorry if I offended anyone, not at all sorry about what he said.
Yeah.
That's kind of how Mason Rudolph's apology came off to me.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it didn't seem genuine. It didn't seem, and he says all of these beautiful things like respecting the Rooney franchise, the Rooney family, blah blah blah, and I'm like, who gives a shit?
Yes, I shut up.
Like, it's just, I don't know. I thought it was pretty weak. I wasn't too happy about it, and I think that I would hope better from players like who are put in those situations, and hopefully that this is a lesson that people won't. But it's another thing. Like, I was listening to the Dan Le Batard show the other day, and they were like, it was actually Friday's show, and they started the show just like laughing about how everyone's making such a big deal out of this whole thing, and they quoted comedian Neil Brennan, and they played an audio clip, and Brennan is like, so these players, they're like designed to kill. I'm not, by the way, this is not an actual quote. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm paraphrasing. But they are designed to kill. Like, wake up, go to practice, do football, go to the game, do football, go hang out with your girlfriend, do football. Oh, nope, I did football in the wrong place. I mean, like, but they are
wired for like high octane and like lots of physical contact. And that shit's hard to shut off, I guess. You know
right. I mean, and there are like 3 players on the field that aren't wired for that. The kicker, the punter, and the quarterback.
Yeah.
And the rest of them are like, oh, sorry, like, yeah, did football in the wrong time, did football in the elevator, did football in the bed, whatever it is. Like, and it's the nature of the game. I think about players too, like J.J. Watt, who seems to have like a good balance of control. I think a lot of that comes from the fact that he has a foundation that he has to run.
Yeah.
So, like, the practice of like doing the football and then going and doing nice things for the community and like going back and forth. And obviously JJ Watt is, I would say, a much bigger name than Myles Garrett. Yeah. But
that's the rarity. You know what I mean? I feel like most dudes aren't like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
most guys are just, I don't know. He's probably very good at dealing with whatever he's dealing with and shutting it off. A lot of guys aren't.
Right. It's hard. I mean, it's a difficult thing. We also saw this week a very typical performance from Phillip Rivers on Monday Night Football. Philly. Good old Phil. Fertile Phil. That's what I like to call him. Phillip Rivers almost had the game on Monday night. Almost. It was very close. Could have done it. Didn't do it.
This is the thing, though.
As usual.
This is the thing. 2
minutes. They were working down the field. They've got the opportunity, and then somehow they blow it.
This is the thing.
What do you think Phillip Rivers' legacy is?
I don't know.
Do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
You don't think so? I think so.
Really?
You think it's a question?
Yeah. Tell me why.
Well,
I
tell
mean,
me
if-
why not first.
Okay, if there is a conversation about Eli Manning, 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback,
This is true.
being a Hall of Famer,
It's not.
Then
It's
I don't-
a fake conversation. He's definitely making it.
no, well, okay, no, let's actually. You're a Giants fan. I want to get into this. This
He's
was not
making it
planned,
in.
but here we go.
I don't want to get into it.
No.
He's making it in.
But look, here's the thing. Eli Manning right now, if at the end of the year when his contract expires, leaves the NFL gracefully,
Yeah.
says I've done what I needed to do. I did a great job.
Yeah.
He is abso-fucking-lutely a Hall of Famer. If he tries to do what his brother
He's
Peyton
not. You
did,
think he's gonna?
oh, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. But if he goes and he
No.
either convinces the Giants to sign him for another year as backup, or he goes to another team and plays for a little bit, you know what? He's tarnishing the good name of his career.
Then he doesn't deserve it.
And then he's making an argument for not being on. And even though Peyton fell off a cliff, much unlike Tom Brady, who I have recently come to realize will never fall off the cliff that I thought that he would. He's going to slowly decline, which he currently is.
Yeah.
He was a top 3 quarterback, then he was a top 5. Now I would say he's in the top 20 somewhere, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't put him even in top 10.
You don't think so?
No.
No.
But Phillip Rivers, on the other hand, has kind of always been lingering around top 10, between top 10 and top 20.
Yeah.
Even though he's the franchise guy and he's been there for 1,002 years.
Yeah. You don't think if you put him on a team, take any team that's won a Super Bowl in the last 5 years, and you put Phillip Rivers on that team.
What about, okay, well, no, the Eagles are a bad example because Wentz isn't going
Yeah.
anywhere. Let's say the Rams.
Not the Rams right now.
All right.
Take any team that was really good that won a Super Bowl, that you knew was going to win the Super Bowl, like they were just crushing it all year, fucking the last 10 years. And you just minus their quarterback for Phillip Rivers. You don't think that team would have had almost as a same or as almost the same run?
All right, well, you just vetoed 2 of the, 5 of them? So the Patriots, the Eagles, the Rams, the Giants. Who else is one?
Not now, though. Like, those teams then.
Oh,
That's what I mean.
I see. Well, but it doesn't matter because Phillip Rivers can either sign a contract at the end of the year or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure the Chargers will try to re-sign him just for loyalty purposes, but he could feasibly go get a job elsewhere.
Yeah, but what...
But again, then it comes back to the Manning conversation. Do you think he'll be any good? And obviously, I think it's fair to say that Rivers is a better quarterback than Manning, just based on numbers
I
right
think
now.
So. Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't understand. I can't in good faith put him in the Hall of Fame right now.
What would it take to put him in the Hall of Fame then for you?
A
Is that
Super
win
Bowl?
Super Bowl? That's it.
Not even a win. It doesn't even have to be a win.
Get to the Super Bowl?
Get to the Super Bowl.
And he's in the Hall of
Get
Fame?
to the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Or be extraordinary. Set records. Do something. Do fucking anything. Because the Chargers are not a bad team.
They're not.
I don't understand why this is such at the 2-minute mark we know exactly what is going to happen.
But you think it's Phillip Rivers' fault?
I mean,
It's cold.
look, it's not anybody else's fault. It's not Mark Ingram's fault. It's
A collective?
it might
Could
be
it
a collective
fault?
thing. They don't have a whole lot of. They're not a young team, I would say. They're very stagnant. They're still kind of dealing with the repercussions of moving to LA from San Diego.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers, by the way, still lives in San Diego. He doesn't even live in LA. He drives there every fucking day.
How long is that drive?
I have no idea. I'm not a West Coaster. You're not either. I have no idea. If someone knows, please shout it out. But I have no idea. But that's got to be exhausting.
Yeah.
And it's just I feel bad because I want good things for this franchise quarterback, but right now I think this is the year that he needs to be making a Hall of Fame argument, and the Monday Night Football game did the opposite of that.
You're right.
I know, I'm always right.
Eli Manning's definitely going out. If he gets out, he's definitely getting out. What is he going to do with himself? He's going to play again? He was supposed to. They should have brought him out to pasture like 3 years ago. He should have just went on. Like, all right.
Whoa! These are some takes over here.
Serious.
I mean,
They should have.
he's had a not great couple of years.
Like last year, they should have taken him out back and just, you know what I mean, put him down.
But they had no one to
Just
put
be
in.
done with it.
Who are they?
don't
What
know.
Davis?
They
Kyle
should have
Laletta?
planned for this. They should have planned for this.
Davis Webb was gone at the beginning of this year, but they're not putting in Laletta. They're not putting in Alex Tanny. What? No.
They should have done. They should have seen this coming. Definitely.
Out of curiosity, I know this was 1,002 years ago at this point, but how did you feel about the Daniel Jones pick when that happened?
Why? You were like super either way?
Remind me to show you the reaction video.
Yeah?
It's on
We
our
have a video of
Instagram.
it?
Oh yeah, Andrew made sure to. We were sitting at the bar, and he made sure to film my
Oh,
reaction.
what'd you do?
It was irritating.
Yeah?
Remind me to show you.
You
one more
flipped
time.
out?
It was a really bad couple of weeks. It was a dark time. I don't want to talk about
Yeah,
it.
the Giants.
All right.
Let's not talk about the Giants anymore.
You know what, kids? We're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about how I single-handedly ruined Tommy's fantasy chances
Let's
this
go.
year.